Welcome to VLSI design video. We are looking at unit 5, that is design and verification with PLDs. The contents of this chapter are implementing functions in FPGAs, implementing functions using Shannon's decomposition, carry chains in FPGAs, cascade chains in FPGAs, examples of logic blocks in commercial FPGAs, dedicated memory in FPGAs, dedicated multipliers in FPGAs, JTAG, boundary scan and tap controller. The objective of this course is to implement digital circuits using FPGA, and the outcome of this course is realizing functions in FPGA with testability methods. So what is the need of PLDs? As you have already studied in fundamentals of HDL, hopefully you have the idea of programmable logic devices, which you have been studying from the second year in digital electronics as well. But still we'll just revise some of the topics which you have studied earlier in this particular lecture. So since as a user can be able to implement or program into the logic device or the element, it should be or for the ease of design, since every time we are unable to make up those IC or we cannot make up the chip, so it should be reconfigurable, or every time we need to make changes. So the need of PLDs for the ease of design or for the easy making up of the designer, it is needed. And we also need them because we need to go with the low development cost. Cost is one more criteria, and we want it to make it to move into the market sooner. So this is called as fast time to market, and we want to generate the revenue by selling these products. So if these products are really useful and they are used for many applications, it should not be meant only for one specific applications. If they are meant for many applications, then no doubt the one who purchase will purchase these things. So whenever you are trying to make up a PLD, we need to see that we need to generate the revenue or higher product revenue, and we need to see that reduced board area. The board area or the size of the board should be less. The size of the board, suppose if I want to develop one thing, then the board is something else, and if I develop one more thing, the board area as well as the components are something else. So I need to make up all these things and I need to pile up these things. But PLD doesn't do so. It will reduce the area, and it is like for implementing multiple functions, as well as the cost should be less, and the cost of ownership also should be less, and it should be reliable. Reliable means wherever or on any platform we are trying to implement, it should be freely reliable. So that is the need of PLD. Next is FPGA design flow, which I have already shown you in the first unit when we have started the introduction to VLSI. So first comes up the specifications. So suppose if you want to design and implement a simple unit permitting to speed up encryption or decryption, or we want to implement some task, so all these things in the form of text are to be written as the specifications, and then that has to be converted into HDL description. It can be a VHDL or Verilog or Handle C or Able or System C, etc. So the diagram here will show you. This one is the HDL code. Next, from the HDL code you will be able to simulate. That is called as a functional verification or functional testing will be done by the code what you have written as HDL description. And generally this functional testing is done with the help of waveform, which is called as a timing diagram. So this is the functional simulation which I have shown you. And then the next step is called as synthesis. From the specifications we have started writing in the form of the text, and then HDL description, writing the HDL code. Once you write the HDL code, it has to be verified, that is called as the functional simulation. And then we go for synthesis step, where the synthesis code or the software converts your written HDL code into a list of components, which is called as a netlist. So for the example code which it is written here is showing that it needs this many number of NAND gates and this many number of inverters. And in short, it also generates a RTL schematic, which is called as register transfer language. So this register transfer language is also can be verified using post synthesis simulation. So after getting the netlist, again we can simulate it, is called as post synthesis simulation. Again it is similar to the functional simulation, but after getting the netlist we do it again to verify whether it is same or not. And the next step is the implementation stage, where we map, place and route onto the chip. So generally the PLD or the chip consists of some logic blocks. Interconnection matrix is these red and blue are indicated as logic blocks. In the blue I want to implement. If my design is very small, I can fit here. If my design is too long, I need to make use of all the logic blocks which I have. So it automatically converts all this. And the black wires what you see are called as interconnection matrix. So this again here after implementing we need to again test or verify. So that testing or verification is called as timing simulation. So then the next step is configuration. That means we need to completely configure my board or my chip or my FPGA what I have is to be configured as my own design. Suppose I have designed as a half adder, it should be configured completely as half adder. If I done it to perform as some other task, it has to be configured as that particular task. So this configuration stage is called as on chip testing. So on the chip we need to test with the timing waveforms and the test inputs what we have, and finally we say that our device is configured and ready to use. So these are the broad VLSI design steps which I have again revised for your sake. Next, moving on to the technologies, how we program our own design onto FPGA or any PLD. It's not just FPGA, any PLD. How do we program? Programming means we need to pass the programming pulse so that our design or our logic has to be implemented on that particular programmable logic device. So that can be done with the antifuse method or fusible link, EEPROM, flash and SRAM. All this we have studied already earlier in the FHDL. So antifuse method is one-time programming, fusible link is also one-time programming, EEPROM, flash and SRAM are not one-time programming, they can be reprogrammed. So but antifuse and fusible link are one-time programming. So here we can see the table in which the symbols are shown for fusible link, for antifuse, EEPROM, flash and SRAM, and they are predominantly associated with fusible link is associated with SPLDs, antifuse is associated with FPGAs, EEPROM is for SPLD. SPLD is simple programmable logic devices in which PLA and PAL are implemented, and CPLDs, and EEPROM and flash for simple programmable logic devices and CPLDs and some of the FPGAs also, whereas SRAM is mostly predominantly associated with FPGAs. In few of CPLDs also this SRAM is implemented. if we move on to technology evolution, you can see the transistor count is been increasing, and the ICs in general, they are also increasing. SRAM and DRAM, they are used even now. Microprocessor, SRAM and DRAM, it was started in 1970 and is used even now. And with all these things which are available in the programmable logic devices, microprocessors are also developed, and these microprocessors are being used, and the technology has been used in the microprocessor also. And these programming method or programming technology is being used in even SPLD and CPLDs and application specific integrated circuits and in FPGA. Nowadays, FPGAs are most widely used, and they are most widely used in the industry also. Next is the classification of PLDs. PLDs are classified into broadly two types, SPLDs and CPLD. SPLD is simple programmable logic devices, and CPLD is complex programmable logic device. And the simple programmable logic devices are classified into PROMs, PLA, PAL, programmable array logic, programmable logic array, gate array logics, etc. Now moving on to FPGA quickly. FPGA, in 1985, a company called Xilinx introduced a completely new idea, which is neither simple PLD, which is neither complex PLD. Complex PLD is what? It is again the group of PLD blocks will make up a complex programmable logic device. But FPGA is something different. The concept was to combine user control and time to market of PLDs with the densities and cost benefits of gate arrays. A lot of customers liked it, and the FPGA was born. An FPGA is a regular structure of logic cells or modules and interconnect which is under the designer's complete control. This means user can design, program and make changes to his circuit whenever he wants. And with FPGAs now exceeding the 10 million gate limit, you can just imagine. Xilinx Vertex is the current record holder. RTX also has come up nowadays. The designer can dream big. FPGA technologies are SRAM based FPGA fabrics, which are the vendors from Xilinx as well as Altera, and anti-fused based FPGA fabrics are from the vendors Actel, and flash based FPGAs are from the Actel again. So you can see here Atmel, Actel, Xilinx and Altera are some of the vendors or the FPGA families who have manufactured these FPGAs. So examples of SRAM based FPGA include Altera Flex family, Atmel 86000 and 40,000 families, Lucent Technologies ORCA family, and Xilinx XC4000 and Vertex families. Examples of anti-fuse based FPGA include Actel, SX and MX families, QuickLogic PASIC family. So there are so many, you can even explore on the internet also. If you search, you will get so many things. Now we'll move on to Xilinx FPGA families. The old families are XC3000, XC4000 and XC5200. They are of 0.5 micrometer, 0.35 micrometer and 0.25 micrometer technology. The technology is the length, the wire length or the material length what is used is denoted as the technology. So it is just 0.5 micrometer. You can imagine 0.5, 0.35 and 0.25 micrometer. It is not recommended for modern designs. And low cost families are Spartan XL. They are derived from XC4000, and Spartan 2, they are derived from Vertex. Spartan 2E derived from Vertex E. Spartan 3, Spartan 3E, Spartan 3L are some of the low cost families. So these are the symbols of Spartan. high performance families from Xilinx. We are now discussing about only Xilinx families. They are Vertex 220 nanometer, Vertex E, Vertex EM is 180 nanometer. See, we are moving from 0.5 micrometer to nanometer. You can imagine the length or the wire width or the wire the spacing. You can see micrometer is little less compared with micrometer. Nano is further small. Okay, so that much is the technology used here, you can see. And Vertex 4 is 90 nanometer, Vertex 5 is 65 nanometer, and latest nowadays have come up with even 16 and 14 nanometer also. So these are the symbols of Vertex and Vertex Pro. Next, SRAM based FPGAs are having programmable logic functions, interconnects using SRAM. The advantages are they are reprogrammable and dynamically reconfigurable, uses standard processors. Disadvantages are SRAM burns power, possible to steal, disrupt configuration bits. So this is the FPGA architecture. It is a concept of sea of gates. You can see C means it's like more number of gates, group of gates. It uses an SRAM or antifuse or flash based architecture. That means the programming method that I have already shown you. The building blocks are configurable logic blocks, GRM and IO cell. So this is the architectural diagram. You can see these are the configurable logic blocks. IO blocks, you can see IO blocks are like a boundary or surrounded, and some blocks are for RAM. They are called as dedicated blocks or dedicated RAM or embedded RAMs. Types of FPGA architecture are symmetrical array, row based, and sea of gates, hierarchical PLD. FPGA is a SRAM based volatile structure. It can be reconfigured by making power off and use of EEPROM. Hence it is called as field programmable. FPGA vendors, as I shown you, Xilinx with Vertex and Spartan, Actel, Altera, Cypress, AT&T, QuickLogic. These are some of the vendors for FPGA. So I hope the introductory part you might have understood about the FPGA. Since FPGA architecture, internal block diagram, everything you have already studied in the third year. Anyway, again in the coming lectures I will be giving you all details of all these things. Thank you for watching.